All right. So we're doing a show about a mass suicide this week. I'm thinking we should have Eli sit this one out. What do you guys think?
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
probably
a good idea.
Yeah, actually, I took care of that already.
Mm-hmm.
I told Eli I booked a best friend spa weekend in Russia, and I paid Dave Grohl to pretend he's me. Eli's not going to be back for at least a few more days at this point.
All right. Perfect. Nice work. So we'll just skip the part with Eli doing his, typical like over the top crazy behavior related to the theme of the episode, and we can just like start the show. Sounds good?
Yeah, very reasonable.
Yeah, perfect.
Excellent.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, great.
Kool-Aid Man. Oh, yeah.
Oh, come on.
Absolutely
God
not.
damn it.
Comedy.
No.
How are you back already?
Absolutely. No to whatever this is.
Oh.
And you're still sitting out the episode.
Oh. Kool-Aid Man. Hello and welcome to Citation Needed, the podcast where we choose a subject, read a single article about it on Wikipedia, and pretend we're experts, because this is the internet, and that's how it works now. I'm Marissa, and I'll be the guest host for tonight, leading our cult of impersonalities through another... whatever the fuck you guys call this. First up, we have two people who treat food like the president treats a vagina, Heath and Tom.
All right. Okay. Fair enough. But when I get herpes from food, the restaurant pays me $130,000. To be fair.
I don't even understand that line. Like, I eat food. I don't just go around grabbing other people's tacos. Weird.
And also joining us are geriatric Legolas with Crohn's disease and geriatric Gimli with the opposite disease, Cecil and Noah.
I have like a whole beard full of ingrown hair.
But see, we're both geriatric and diseased, but I started off hot. That's what she's saying. That's the point.
We'll agree to disagree. Before we get started, I'd like to thank all the patrons, mostly me. I'm like easily the best one. Some of my best friends are even patrons. And if you're feeling generous like me, be sure to stick around till the end of the show where we'll explain how you can go to help out and be like me, but not as good, almost. But with that, Tom, what person, place, thing, concept, phenomenon, or event will we be breaking down today?
We'll be talking about Heaven's Gate.
And Heath, you prepared for the comet to show us the way home. Are you ready to have the correct change in your pocket?
That is a roll of quarters, and I'm happy to see it. It's both, Marissa.
Dimes. Just. Those are dimes.
What? It doesn't matter the coin.
Canadian dimes.
So tell us, what was Heaven's Gate?
All right. Heaven's Gate was a cult founded in 1974 by Marshall Applewhite and his partner Bonnie Nettles, who are the creepiest couple ever. If you've ever been murder raped by an elderly couple in a motel hot tub, you got a pretty good picture in your head. That's about right.
You're just sitting there relaxing, an inflatable hemorrhoid cushion floats by with some prune juice, Viagra, and a bottle of chloroform.
Oh, come on. I didn't think Utah was that bad.
I agree. I mean, all inclusive means different things to different people. Okay. I'm getting the most for my money is what I'm saying.
Yes. So those people started a cult, and it was based on the principles of end times Christianity, UFOs, pseudo-astronomy, and self-discipline. Huh? Basically, they created a mashup of everything that I personally hate in the world and made a fucking religion out of it. But they also added Darwinian mass suicide, so that got me back on board. That's just good eugenics.
Probably get Eli back on board too. All you have to do is mention suicide, and his ears start pivoting around like he's a German shepherd. They're just like,
I feel like for me, like the self-discipline piece is really the cult deal breaker. I mean, like,
Right?
I'm all in for the hedonistic cult though. Like, sign me up for eating and fucking. I'll blame it on Jesus or UFOs. I don't give a fuck.
Wait, what do you blame it on now, Tom?
Cecil.
All right, so let's start with some background on the founders. Marshall Applewhite was born in Spur, Texas in 1931. Spur, which already tells you a lot. He was born in a place named for a piece of metal that you stick in a horse's ass.
You have weird hobbies, man.
Not everybody can eat and have sex all the time.
Applewhite's father was a Christian fundamentalist minister, which meant that young Marshall grew up as a super creepy religious kid. Basically, he was training to be a serial killer since he was like a fetus.
I told you guys, Common Core is going to be the death of us all.
Right? Some kids should be left behind. I figure when your Easy Bake Oven comes with its own deep freezer, the path is pretty much already laid out for you.
After high school, Marshall Applewhite earned a BA at Austin College, got married, and eventually enrolled at a seminary to become a minister. And it turns out they teach you exactly the same skills you need to be a cult leader at seminary.
Imagine that.
Yeah, weird. But he got tired of the seminary, so he left and ended up missing the day of class when they tell you, don't organize a mass suicide because of a UFO that you made up. Pin in that for later. Applewhite's plan after quitting the seminary was to focus on his music career. And by that, I mean he became the music director at a church in North Carolina.
Shoot low.
Then in 1954, he got drafted into the Army and served 2 years before eventually moving to New York City to become a professional singer. And by that, I mean he waited tables for a while before leaving New York, depressed, broken, and alone.
Wow, that would have been a far
story.
different version of Rent.
Yeah.
A lot more soprano in this one. Yeah.
I mean, this is a story about a cult, so it'd probably be like Rent Control. Actually. My first putt.
So
You can make it on your own.
He's ready to spread his wings and fly, guys. It's a beautiful moment.
it's just this angry libertarian musical called Rent Control. All right, so from there, Applewhite did what any intelligent person who lives in New York City, hates their job at TGI Fridays, and can barely afford the rent on their closet would do. He moved to the Deep South. And since podcasting wasn't a thing yet, he got a job as a music teacher at the University of Alabama. But pretty soon after that, he got fired for fucking one of his students. Now, normally that'd be fine in Roy Moore country, but it was a male student, and Alabama was having enough trouble with blacks trying to be people at this point, so they couldn't even with the gay people.
Rookie mistake. He should have waited until he had tenure, and then he's on fire.
Right.
The
student, you mean?
He was about tenure.
Suddenly it feels like the plot of Get Out, except in this case, they're just saying that to keep Applewhite out of that kid's rectum. So.
But it goes to show that he dropped out of seminary, but he was still there in spirit.
Look, it figures I finally get to hang out with you guys again, and the only gay shit to mention happened in Alabama in the 70s. I mean, I already fucking feel out of place as it is. Like, this show is all guys, all straight guys, and here I come in, and it's like, oh, damn.
Following the affair with his student, Applewhite ended up getting divorced from his wife and moving to Texas for another job as a music teacher. This one worked out about equally well. Within a few years, he'd fucked another student, had a psychological breakdown, and left town again, eventually landing in a mental hospital.
Oh.
And this is where the end times Christian culty stuff starts happening, as you might
Someone
guess.
needs to teach this guy not to play with the minor key, you know?
So it's 1972. Applewhite's in the asylum, and this is when he meets Bonnie Nettles, his soon-to-be cult partner. Nettles was a nurse at the mental hospital where Applewhite was living and being treated for delusional schizophrenia. And she thought this was a great scenario for telling him that she was foretold about their meeting by aliens and that he had a divine assignment in life.
Jesus.
She's the nurse.
Honestly,
The nurse?
This is the nurse at the mental hospital. Yup. You see, honestly, if mental hospitals existed throughout history, this is exactly the origin story of Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, Joseph. It's all of them.
Well, I mean, besides people being wrong about us trans people being mentally ill, and if they are, this is the company they wanted us to keep in the process. Gee, I'm suddenly feeling a lot more cis. I can totally pass. I can do Tom's voice. Recording live from Glory Hole Studios in Chicago. See, I can do it. I can do it.
No, nobody does my voice. My voice does other people.
Oh,
Caliente.
situosity is not a virtue. See, I can do it too.
That's uncanny, Noah.
Eli
Good for
wasn't
you.
here for that.
So Applewhite and Nettles end up moving in together so they can have a deep and meaningful no-sex relationship, which is
We call that
terrifying.
marriage.
Yeah, so they get all obsessed with books about Blavatskyan theosophy.
Boy, that sounds like bullshit.
Jeez, that phase.
Yup. So, in case anyone's not familiar, that's a religion that was started in 1875 by a Russian lady named Helena Blavatsky, who believed she was possessed by ancient ninjas from Tibet with magical powers. And this
Wait.
religion
Regular
is-
ninjas or ninja turtles? I just the people
It's
demand
not clear.
answers, Heath.
It's turtles all the way down.
Yeah, magical ninjas, maybe turtles also. And anyway, the religion, they're pretty sure they're a protagonist in a kung fu movie. And all they have to do is blend all the different religion styles into one master style, and they'll win the religioning game. Or it's not clear.
This whole time, I thought Ralph Macchio was impersonating a crane kick. He's just doing the Jesus cross in that pose. That's what he's doing.
How did I even miss this one in comparative religion? I would have picked any religion that had sparring as part of its theology.
And ring
Yeah,
girls.
right.
Yeah, Cobra Kai would have at least been more interesting than learning about the Lamanites again.
Yes.
And now we read from the hymn of Put 'em in a body bag.
Repeat after me. There is no forgiveness in this dojo.
No sensei.
All right, one other detail about theosophy. Just for the record, their society has an emblem that contains both a Star of David and a swastika. Now,
What?
granted,
Conflict.
yeah, both of those things. Yeah, so granted, they drew their logo well before Nazis used the swastika, but Applewhite and Nettles got into theosophy well after stuff with swastikas should have been a warning sign that you don't get into it. And well after it became clear that theosophy is nonsense, that's pretty much only used for dirty hippies trying to start lazy-ass cults. And for dirty hippies trying to start schools that grade with the emojis instead of letters and numbers. My surgeon got a double plus unfrowny in AP Bio. Fuck you, absolutely not. Waldorf nonsense.
It's crazy. At their monthly meetings, they take off their clan hoods and they'll be wearing yarmulkes and blackface with rainbow flag cravats.
Now, see, I would join that religion. Just think of the potluck dinners. Amazing.
Fried chicken on a bagel.
The plating would be
That
fabulous.
does sound good.
That's racist.
Sounds really good.
That's racist.
We're getting off track. I was thinking, I really want a sandwich. All right, so now it's 1974, and the crazy fuckless couple keeps reading about theosophy and starts combining that stuff with selected pieces of the Bible and also some science textbooks they found by Robert Heinlein and Arthur C. Clarke. And putting it all together, they realize that they've been given higher level minds by the ghost Ninja Turtles from Tibet.
Right.
And they need to fulfill the prophecies of the Bible. Also, aliens, something with aliens.
He turns to his wife. He's like, yeah, the aliens are telling me I think I need to probe a young boy. Another young boy here.
Well, with this kind of track record, it has to be kind of blasé at this point, doesn't it?
Right.
Oh, you're probing another young boy? Okay, fine. Just remember to use the gloves this time. I don't need that UTI explanation again.
Jesus Christ.
I suddenly feel like way better about every bad relationship I've ever been in or heard about.
Right. And I suddenly feel like the origin story of Scathing Atheist isn't as original as I thought. Sad.
Yeah, so based on their research, Applewhite and Nettles decide that they're the two witnesses who show up in the book of Revelation to usher in the apocalypse, which was a stupid pick because anyone who read the Bible would be like, oh, cool, so breathe some fire then.
They're the fire-breathing Jews.
The fire-breathing Jews, correct. But Applewhite and Nettles rolled with it anyway, which means they definitely spent a good deal of time trying to rig up a hidden blowtorch in their hoodie so they could blow fire. Which is probably why Marshall Applewhite looks like Jeff Sessions always just had a cigar explode in his face. Anyway,
Are they starting religion based on like Home Alone tropes? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, so anyway, the groundwork for their cult has been laid, and they're just about to start culting the shit out of it.
I just want to point out that's the only thing that's gotten laid in this story.
Those little boys.
Okay, all right.
That's true.
Fair enough.
But, all right, before we get to all that, let's take a quick break for everyone's favorite unrelated halftime segment, Apropos of Nothing.
All right, so I've been kicking around an episode idea, but it seems like the topic might be a little too small to fill an entire show. But that doesn't mean we can't do a quick short segment right here. So, hello. Welcome to Citation Needed Mini. Today's subject is the fact that pugs are horribly unethical. They're wonderful, adorable dogs, don't get me wrong, but their breeding process of having no snout causes them to have painful, terrifying lives of almost suffocating for like 12 to 15 years before finally drowning in their own mucus. It's incredibly cruel. And if you buy one, you're contributing to the problem. And you're also cruel. Only a horrible, horrible person would buy a pug. Even if you get him a platinum insurance plan, you're still a horrible, horrible, cruel person. That is all. Does anyone have anything to add?
You know, I'll just say that everything Heath mentioned is 100% accurate. And I'll add that
Thank
Tom
you.
and I are best friends.
Yes, we are. Kind of like
Yeah,
like Noah and Heath.
absolutely.
Indeed.
Right? There's nobody else left for this
There's
equation.
only been 4 people on this show ever since, right?
It's nice to have Marissa as the fifth.
Yeah.
That's been wonderful.
I mean,
That
I'm
extra-
just saying she nailed hello and welcome.
Absolutely.
Rolled right through that like it was easy.
I'm glad my Ivy League education is going to something useful.
Can you do a pigeon sound?
And we're back. When we left off, alien ghost ninjas were bringing on the apocalypse by way of the Last Crusade during a fever dream. So, speaking of those magic cups, we had breathing fire and Jeff Sessions, unfortunately not in correlation or causation to each other. So, Heath?
Right. So the two-person cult was finally rolling, and having discovered all the connections between brown people religions, white people religions, and green people religions, they were pretty excited to tell Christianity all about what they figured out. But strangely enough, it did not go over well with Christianity. So they were forced to take their show on the road and start their own congregation.
Okay. Too full of shit for Christians in America. Yeah. That's where we're starting. I just want to emphasize that.
They started driving around and explaining how they're actually alien demigods and how they needed a crew to help with their big project. What was the project? It went something like, go fuck yourself. No idea.
Sounds like they did a lot more work than Hillary did in Michigan. So
And I gotta say, like, having spent some time in my life in Michigan, this is a message that would be well received in Michigan. Like, better received than a woman president,
Yeah.
anyway.
Well, right.
You know, I was in Flint this past summer. You're not wrong.
yeah.
BYOB.
So eventually they somehow put together a little following of idiots and sold all their worldly possessions. and then used the money they got to buy a bunch of worldly possessions. It's confusing.
If only they'd had a tax cut.
Applewhite definitely should have stayed for a few more seminary classes about the whole way that money scamming works. Anyway, they had a meeting in Oregon, and they all decided to disappear and become reclusive hobo campers together.
Yeah, what the fuck? How does this sales pitch work to the follow? Like, hey, so, okay, all right. This might sound like a little crazy. I got this idea. All right, hear me out. Yeah, okay, it ends with us killing ourselves, fine, but it starts with not fucking. So, guys, hey.
But you know, the fact that it was Oregon, the difference in becoming a reclusive hobo camper noticed was literally zero.
Yeah, right. No, it fucking reclusive hobo camper is often shortened simply to Oregonian.
Yeah.
Given their success with pumping their own gas. Yeah, absolutely.
It's an awesome game, the Reclusive Hobo Camper Trail. Yeah, it was fun. So this disappearance they did, it actually drew their first big piece of media attention for the Heaven's Gate people. Following the meeting in Oregon, Walter Cronkite reported on the CBS Evening News, quote, "A score of persons have disappeared. It's a mystery whether they've been taken on a so-called trip to eternity or simply been taken," end quote. And they caught right before he said, "Fucking stupid, I hate my fucking job. I can't believe they're making me do this."
Or before Liam Neeson could memorize his voice and hunt him down.
I'm sorry. I'm just going to go ahead and say this. Like, these were people we shouldn't look very hard to find, right? Like, they go missing. It's like, who cares? Yeah. Who cares? They believe this bullshit. Going missing is the best thing that can happen in society.
So they spent the next 10 years just bumming around the country, begging for money, camping in the woods, and stealing hot pies off windowsills, I'm assuming. So pretty much just a hippie cult that wanted to combine all the religions of the world into a nice, lazy stew, but also ignore all the parts about social responsibility and basic hygiene.
Well, obviously, because you said hippie.
No, listen, a hippie cult would at least get high all the time and pass around some good old-fashioned chlamydia. It just sounds like dirt. Like dirty, not fun, but just dirty.
This is actually starting to sound a lot like Bernie Sanders' campaign.
Like I said, like dirty, but not dirty fun.
Right.
Yeah.
I dated a girl in Vermont last year, and I was there several times. It's giving me scent flashbacks, so you don't know how accurate you are.
So during this time, Applewhite and Nettles took on magical nicknames for themselves. They went with Bo and Peep, or Doe and T.
What?
Apparently they had a meeting about it, and it was like, "Hey, what kind of vowel sounds do you like?" No, you say first. Okay, same time. Long vowel sounds. Long vowel sounds. Yes, me too. Okay, cool, great. Which vowel? Oh, E. Oh. Okay. Oh, that's fine. That's fine. We'll make it work. Oh, and E, no big deal. And apparently being followers of people named after nursery rhymes and solfege signs didn't seem to bother anyone. Yeah. So sure hope they all don't die of stupidity at some point. We'll see.
I feel super confused. Doesn't Bo Peep lose her sheep? It seems like the worst shepherd to choose.
It's the same person.
But damn appropriate, though, if you're going to pick any one shepherd for this group.
Yeah, so the hobo camper plan is going great for the magical alien ninjas and their crew. But then in 1985, their mission changed all of a sudden. This was the year that Bonnie Nettles died, and also the year that the movie Cocoon was released. Both of those things seem to be large factors.
What?
Applewhite became paranoid that the government was trying to kill him, and also became convinced that he really wanted to shower with hot water and take a shit on a toilet and wipe with not a stick. So he was like, all right, fucking new plan. Instead of hippie alien cult, we're going to be a yuppie alien cult with a tech startup. Also, there's a comet coming in 12 years, and we need to get ready for that. So, new plan. Yeah, so they slowly transitioned to an indoor cult with plumbing and electricity. But that's about it. the general belief system was still based on transcending the human realm by giving up all attachment to the planet Earth. That meant no family, no friends, no sex, no money, no possessions.
Okay, so they're just middle school boys with video games.
Well, except for Doe, who held everyone's money and possessions and bought himself a 9,000 square foot mansion in Southern California. This became their headquarters, where they started training for the big something with a comet. Still hasn't nailed that far down yet, but it's comet related for sure.
Is it so hard to plan for something to happen outside of a human lifetime? I mean, Trump is planning for 2020, for Christ's sake.
Remember when we were all kids, you couldn't wait for the future because flying cars and all that great shit. Like, I feel like the only thing I'm eagerly awaiting are the soothing tones of the emergency broadcast system.
Yeah, this is only a test used to be good news, didn't it? I remember that. I remember before. I missed before.
We're exactly 1 degree from being nostalgic for the AOL dial-up sound here.
What's your ringtone, though? I don't judge your ringtone.
All right, so here's the existing belief system for the Heaven's Gate people at this point, as far as I can tell. Doe was pretty sure the end times were coming and the world was going to get blown up. And his plan was to get off the planet with his crew. This meant getting to the next evolutionary level. Obviously, the godly alien level, which is above the human level.
Yeah, right. You get 6,000 XP and you...
Right. No, you got it. It also meant getting past the Luciferians. They were an evil tribe of super advanced aliens.
Of course they were.
Who spent their time tricking humankind into doing all different religions that don't really work because they all don't use the right magic alien words.
No, stop. No.
And the Luciferians had a super nice planet of their own, but they got bored with that, so they pretty much only focus on spiting the humans at this point. So you got to get past them.
Christ. When do the fucking guys fly volcanoes into 747s or whatever the fuck?
Yeah, man, I'm right there with you, man. This Tom Cruise biography is actually a little weirder than I thought.
Yeah.
Maybe less weird? I don't know. It's hard. Is it less?
Luciferian aliens requesting flyby. Top Gun 2.
See, now I can't help but think of them flying volcanoes into airplanes. That's a great visual.
All right, so volcanoes don't burn that hot. So
All right, Goose, you're in the hot seat. It's a volcano.
That's all hot.
They're all hot seats.
Yeah.
It's all seats.
Tom Cruise was in that movie. Okay.
Which makes sense. It's in the biography.
Full fucking circle. Full circle.
All right. So here's how you get to that next evolutionary level I was talking about and find your way into happy alien land, according to Doe. Option 1, you get on the good guy alien spaceship when they swing by to pick you up. And at some point, Doe figured out that the ship would probably be drafting behind the Hale-Bopp comet like a cyclist.
What?
So that became the big plan.
Yeah. All the aliens had to shave off their arm hair to reduce the drag on the dilithium crystals.
The best way to actually get on the ship is to just have one testicle and take steroids. Yeah. That's it. But the arm hair thing, that works too. That's a good plan too.
Yeah, so we now know they went with too few testicles.
I mean, it seems less expensive than getting a vaginoplasty, but I'm not working that out anytime soon. So I don't know. Alien space cult seems like a less expensive option.
Yeah.
Silver lining. Go American healthcare. Fuck the AC.
That's right.
Wait, is that a vagina size reduction? Like a rhinoplasty is a vaginoplasty? Describe. I don't know what that is.
I'm not going to write your fan fiction, Heath. I mean, unless you want me to.
We'll talk later. So, option 2 to get to the next evolutionary level, you die. But don't worry, it's not going to be suicide. They've been saying since day one they're against suicide. It has to be natural death, accidental death, or death from random violence. Those are the 3 types of death besides suicide. Here's a Venn diagram.
I feel like systematic violence could also get you, but I guess that's why I'm no alien ninja god, right?
And how is
Look at the chart.
random not also accidental?
Don't confuse. You're thinking too much.
Random fuck.
Moving on to option 3.
Crazy in this.
I
It's
am
crazy
go.
in the center of the Venn diagram. It just says West Side of Chicago.
Option 3. You guys are making jokes. This is a serious cult. Take it fucking seriously. Option 3. Outside persecution leads to your death, just like in Waco, Texas.
Okay, well, there's your not random, non-accidental violence. So I got
Right,
it.
right. No, they were. ATF was standing in a line when they shot those motherfuckers. So.
Not random at all.
And finally, option 4. Willful exit from your body in a dignified manner. Suicide is different. Shut up. Shut up. You're a Venn diagram. The first 3 things didn't work out. This is what we're doing. Moving on.
Wait, okay. Which means, though, if I'm following you correctly, that they tried to get persecuted and failed.
Yep.
I so want a record of that, but like as a montage.
Now, given who I'm filling in for here, what song would you use? Because I don't know if I can still do those Eli, like, looking for the montage. I don't think I can do it. That's all I'm saying.
All right, we'll go all-star in honor of Eli's.
Yeah, so that's pretty much how the planning went leading up to their big day. The group all got together in the mansion and started getting ready to make option 1 happen and jump on the flying saucer when the Hale-Bopp comet passed closest to Earth. And just for the record, that happened on March 22nd, 1997. The comet passed by Earth at a distance of only 1.3 astronomical units, which is only about 121 million miles. So
They're just gonna hop.
they just
hop
they're
over.
just gonna jump.
Yeah, the first step of that hop is a fucking doozy. You need like Dick Van Dyke legs to get over that gap, you know?
They were so close. Like maybe they just shown like a little cleavage, sweeten the pot a bit. You know?
Yeah, but the aliens didn't see the Heaven's Gate people hailing it, I guess, and they just drove right past without stopping. So racist. So that left the cult with options 2, 3, or 4. And since the government wasn't actually trying to murder them, it was either murder each other violently or murder each other with dignity. So they settled on the latter, the dignity one.
I'm always baffled that there isn't just one guy who's like, you guys, you know what? Why don't you guys go and I'll catch the next one. I'll just catch the next one.
I feel like being murdered with dignity, that's my best case scenario.
And I think you might be overestimating your options, Tom. Just gonna be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, they missed the bus, and now they're all working out the logistics of a mass suicide together. They decided to go with poison by eating applesauce laced with phenobarbital and washing it down with vodka. And honestly, I think I'm more offended by this than anything else they did. You're picking your last meal and you go with fucking baby food? I hate them so fucking much. Really?
Yeah, but they could just like maybe mix it all together and treat it like an avant-garde appletini, you know?
Right?
Were these like fucking children? Like they're putting their medicine in applesauce? Right? They can't even commit suicide like fucking adults and swallow a pill. Crush it up for me. It's bitter.
You gotta hold their mouth closed like they're dogs. They're just moving back and forth.
You just put it in peanut butter and put it on the roof of their mouth. They're like, their tongue's trying to get it off of there.
It's like rubbing their fucking throat. Like, come on. Swallow it.
Want to go out? Want some applesauce? Just jingling a jar of applesauce. It's not
What jingles in your applesauce? What is it?
you hold keys and dude, you're overthinking it, Tom. Whatever. So, So over the course of the next 3 days, they all killed each other in shifts. And in shifts, yeah, leads. And
I'll take the last shift.
Yeah,
I'll
right.
totally do it too.
I'll do the overnight. No, I got the overnight, guys. Don't worry.
Hey, does somebody want to trade shifts with me? I'm in the middle of a movie. All right, so
I'm gonna take a vacation day on that suicide day, personal day.
I got a little.
There's no way I would be able to eat all that applesauce.
I got pink eye. I can't eat the applesauce. So they did shifts, and they really did a lot more planning out inane details of the mass suicide than you guess. Like the Jim Jones people, they just drank the Kool-Aid and just died all over the place. But these guys were really weird about it. They did a bunch of different organized things. First of all, they all wore identical black shirts and sweatpants.
Well, now, to be fair, once you're walking around in sweatpants, you're pretty much, you're all the way to suicide. You're like 9/10 of the way there.
They all wore brand new Nike Decades sneakers, the same ones.
I'm glad they all decided to kill themselves on Casual Friday.
Right? They also all had patches on their arm that said Heaven's Gate Away Team on it, which is actually one of many Star Trek references that were built into a bunch of their cult stuff. Which is possibly related to one of the crew of the suicide cult being Thomas Nichols, the brother of Nichelle Nichols, who played Uhura in the original Star Trek show. The hot black
away
lady.
team, the home team uniforms were much snazzier.
And let's be fair, though, if they were real Star Trek fans, they'd have all been wearing red shirts, too.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
And one other thing they all did, they each had a $5 bill and also 3 quarters in all their pockets so that they could tip the alien Uber driver and make a few phone calls when they arrive in Alien World. And also, by the way, in Alien World, they have pay phones that use American currency. So
I like that they have aliens that are willing to joyride behind a comet and pick up a different species of hitchhiker, but they will not fucking make change for a 20. No way.
Well, first of all, they know what payphones are, so they're not aliens from the future. But also, you have to at least admire the specificity. So often in religion, things are left up to broad interpretation, and these guys have answers.
What's the price of salvation? $5.75 plus tax.
Yeah.
And you know what? And let's not sugarcoat this. Their answers were no less insane than any of the other religions' answers.
Right? I guess that's true.
And $5.75 is the cheapest price I've ever heard for salvation.
Well, it's $5.75 and your life, Tom.
Life. Yeah, exactly.
Still, the cheapest price I've ever heard for salvation.
obviously, it's a tragic thing when a bunch of people die. But
is it really? In this case, is it really?
It's absolutely not, Tom. It's absolutely not. I'm really happy these people died. But the reaction from Dr. Alan Hale is amazing.
Oh, it so was.
It's
yes,
the best. He's also super happy they died, and I love him. Alan Hale. He's the guy who discovered the comet. He co-discovered the Hale-Bopp comet. Apparently, he got constant phone calls when the news broke about all the fucking idiots killing themselves, and it really pissed him off. And eventually, he spoke at a press conference, and he's basically like, good riddance? I really don't know. Then, about a year later, he gave an entire speech at a skeptics conference about how stupid religions and people are. And according to a colleague, Dr. Hale actually predicted this whole thing. After he discovered the comet, he told his colleague, he's like, yeah, somehow we're going to get some idiots kill themselves over this. I guarantee you. Watch. There's fucking idiots are going to hear about this comet and kill themselves.
amazing.
I love that he knew that announcing the discovery of the comet would lead to idiots killing themselves, and he was just like, yeah, whatever, that's one more comet and a lot less idiots, so 10 out of 10, we'll discover again.
One other quick detail before we wrap it up. And this actually might be my favorite part of the story. In 1996, a year before they died, the Heaven's Gate group purchased alien abduction insurance. That is a thing. They bought it. Their plan would cover up to 50 members of the cult and pay out $1 million a person for anyone who got abducted, impregnated, and or killed by aliens. I would pay anything to watch that insurance salesman during the pitch that day. That must have been amazing.
Well, but here's the thing, though. That's a real thing, the alien abduction insurance, but it's a gag. It's a fucking joke, and it has been forever. So this guy got this fucking call as a joke, and they're like, no, we really want it. And he's like, okay.
Bargaining with them like, $1 million? How about, yeah, $1 million. Sure. We'll give you $1 million a person. Yep. 70 million. What's
sure,
the
why
biggest
not? Why the
number
fuck
you
not?
know? Name the biggest number you know. I'll fucking double it.
So, Heath, if you had to summarize what you've learned in one sentence, what would it be?
Yeah, I'm starting an alien abduction insurance company. AKA a church.
That's right.
And are you ready for a quiz from the panel?
I am ready.
He's got his 575 out and everything. All right, Heath, I'm going to start us off here. You just did an entire essay on the Heaven's Gate cult and never mentioned the fact that most of the male members cut their own balls off.
What?
So,
Okay, judgmental.
my question for you
Is that
is...
for real? What?
Yes,
Yep.
yes. That's
What?
a detail that got...
Like 8 or 9 of them went to Mexico and cut their balls off. I couldn't find a reasonable place to fit that into.
So yeah,
Well,
so
they couldn't
my-
find a
true.
reasonable place to fit it either, which is why they got rid of them, I guess.
What was the doctor's name? I have some friends.
All right, so my obvious question based on that is, are you feeling okay, buddy? Is it A, fine, and you? Is it B, it kind of burns when I pee and it comes out sludgy? Is it C, I'm not your buddy guy? Or D, this episode could have been 14 hours long and I would still have to leave out shit that is at least that insane?
It's E, A, B, and D. Yep.
Glad to know I'm your buddy guy.
Yeah, it's sludgy. I don't know if that's the right word. It makes like a little poof of dust sometimes. It's like,
All right, the world is better off for this event. We all know that. So when well, it just is. Were you hard?
Absolutely.
No, it is. No
We're all
arguments.
fine. Well, everyone's fine.
it's
Except for the idiots that are not.
Story.
All right, so when is suicide the best solution for what ails you?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It's gotta be sometimes, right? So, A, when no one reads your blog, even though it's really interesting and heartfelt and it's reflective of the truest pieces of yourself.
Can we stop at A? Because I think A is the right answer, actually. Yeah.
When no one will give you the creative control to pursue your lifelong dreams.
Okay, it's B. All right.
C, when they've taken everything from you but your Velcro sneakers.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Or D, when even your best friend is ashamed to publicly admit that they love you.
It definitely can't be D.
I think it's E, when if you learned to tap dance, you would have starred in Book of Mormon, but you didn't. You didn't. It's E.
Fuck. Oh.
So, Rich, how would you feel about doing this full time?
Help wanted.
Bring it.
We might be one short next week.
I will be happy to join you. And here's my pitch question. If instead of suicide, they had all pulled together their 575 to tell their story, what would have been their marketing pitch? A, the Loch Ness Monster didn't account for inflation. Helping others reconsider at their base in San Francisco. That would be the Heaven's Golden Gate Bridge to Terabithia.
That's such a sad book.
C, still somehow meeting a better approval response than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Yes, fair.
Absolutely.
Fair. Absolutely fair.
Or D, the Luciferian aliens won't invest their money here until we lower our interstellar corporate tax rate from 35 to 21%.
It is definitely D. Tax plan. We got to get those aliens in. We're not getting enough aliens in.
I thought
Absolutely.
we were trying to get the aliens
Yeah, I
out.
thought that was
I'm so
the
confused
opposite of
right
that.
now.
I'm gonna build a wall with outer space.
No, it's a shade. It's a shade thing. Green is okay. White is okay. Everything on that side of the scale. The
Green
rest of
lives
it's
matter.
shitholes.
Green lives matter. It's
Green Lives Matter.
Green History Month.
All right, last question. Why did the Heaven's Gate cult choose this particular band of shoe? A, everyone loves a pair of jumpers.
Yes.
B, they knew the coach was going to make them run suicides.
Oh, God.
C, they were nonviolent, so the Nike pump shotgun was right out. or D, they were laced with cyanide.
Nice. Laced. Terrible. Suicide is hilarious, guys. I just want to point that out.
It is E. All of the above suicide puns are fantastic. Yes.
I gotta say, I gotta disagree. It's actually B. The coach knew that they were going to make him run suicide. So it's the way it works.
Well-oiled
They
machine.
suck.
This part of the show.
That's so close.
Yeah, D, B, whatever. One of those is wrong.
I'm dying over here. These puns are killing me.
Too many memories of junior high basketball leagues right there.
Me too.
I think it's safe to say that the winner this week and for my guest episode is Cecil. So congratulations, I think.
Yeah. No, it is because I get to pick somebody, and I'm going to pick Noah to write next week's essay.
All right. Okay. But as my first official act as next week's essayist, I want to thank Riss for hanging out with us tonight and remind everybody they can hear more from her by checking out the Inciting Incident podcast, which I'll have linked on the show notes for this episode, along with a bunch of the other shit that she does.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I'm close to the full ticket for my own Heaven Gate. All I need to do is work my way into a Tall Tyler skit and now complete the cycle of being on all the Puzzle in a Thunderstorm shows. So working on my impression for that one. I also host the Sister Getting Out of Hand with Ari Stillman because sometimes I actually like being funny. And we have skits like yours, only slightly less gay. My newest book, Passing Cars, The Internal Monologue of a Neurodivergent Trans Girl, and all my other books are available on Amazon and rissmccool.com. So now I'll toss it over to Sarah for last week's Twitter answer and this week's Twitter question.
Thanks, Riss. Last week's question was, who is Trump's favorite magician and why? And the best answer came from Lacey McConnell on Twitter. Trump's favorite magician would have to be himself. He made all of our respect in the world disappear. MAGA, Magicians Against Government Aid. This week's question is, I don't want to say that.
Why not?
It's mean. And isn't Eli your best friend anyway?
Don't start with that. Just please read it.
But this is shitty. And I like Eli.
Nobody likes Eli. People just put up with him because he threatens to kill himself.
That's mean too.
Will you fucking just read it, please?
Fine. Please note that I did not write this. No question this week. Everyone just tweet that pugs are unethical at Eli Bosnick. I had nothing to do with this, Eli.
You're complicit.
Shut up.
All right. Well, for Cecil, Tom, Noah, and Heath, I'm Marissa, thanking you for hanging out with us today. We'll be back next week, or at least they will. I'll be...
I think you got hired.
Yeah.
I think we had a death.
It depends on whether Eli listens to this one and how many people tweet him. But yeah,
Real quick.
there may be an opening is all I'm saying.
You got that?
If there is, I'll be happy to come back and gay this up a little bit. So, yeah, I'll be listening while I sort mail. And by then, Noah will be an expert on something else. So if you'd like to help keep this show going and tweet Riss McCool if you want her to be on all the time, you can make a per episode donation at patreon.com/citationpod or leave a 5-star review anywhere you can. And if you'd like to get in touch with the guys, check out past episodes, connect with them on social media, or check the show notes. Be sure to check out citationpod.com. Also, I do a few things too, so, help a girl out. #Riss for citation needed.